Hello, my name is Trudge. Welcome to the No Name Podcast. We call it the No Name Podcast for a reason because we currently have no name. And here I have with me is the Sentinel
Swordsman, how you doing?
Swordsman, pretty good. And truth is, we both been talking for a significant amount of time before we started recording, actually, because we originally planned on having your friend on here, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, and
and he's currently unavailable.
yeah, currently unavailable. So we're gonna get this podcast going. I'd say the first thing we should talk about is Fallout and our overall opinion of what we played so far. And I'm sure you have much more interesting opinion on the game in general because you played a lot more. But as an avid Fallout player, I have my opinion on it myself. I want you to tell me what you think of it so far.
Well, from my viewpoint, I believe it is a great game. Some people have been thinking that it died out quick, but I'm just gonna
Some have argued that it's gone mainstream because of the gameplay and how it's kind of gone away from its RPG roots. Like people have said it's like I remember hearing Fallout fans talking about Fallout 3 in New Vegas said it's gone away from its RPG roots. When the truth is, I think Fallout 3 in New Vegas were a lot more RPG oriented than is the Fallout 4 because you kind of see it in the gameplay in general because you're not really jumping in and out in menus as you did in like Skyrim or Fallout 3 in New Vegas.
yeah. Um, as for Fallout 4 though, like people they don't get that. First off, as for the graphics, like people are hating on the graphics for some
I
reason.
actually don't mind the art
Yeah,
style or the visual because I think if you actually look at the conversations or the like CGI cutscenes in Fallout 1 and 2, it actually looks very similar in terms of art style, especially the power armor because I really like how the power armor is actually power armor, not just another
yeah.
piece
It's
of
an
armor.
actual suit
Yeah, an actual suit. Yeah.
instead of it being like something you just slip on and somehow you have super enhanced strength and stuff. I'm all
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, you
now,
kind
now
you kind of move normally as you would with any other armor. The only difference is you only move slightly slower.
yeah. I mean, like now, it makes sense of how it is. Like you can actually build on it. You
Oh
can
yeah.
upgrade it if you want to. Huh?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
that building aspect which is very addictive. It has you glued. It can have you glued on the screen for days or hours or actually
Yeah.
days maybe. So I remember the whole settlement mechanic is very interesting. I guess it's the most RPG aspect of Fallout 4, but other than that, it's more action oriented than it is RPG because like you also see in the dialogue system, which is very kind of disappointing for me. You're only given four options, and you aren't actually shown what you're gonna say. You have a sarcastic option,
I
and
actually have something to say about that. Well, first off, like Fallout, of course, you always have a pre-scripted dialogue, so it
yeah,
just keeps
but
you going.
you notice how in the original Fallout games you actually had a lot more
Yeah, and
dialogue
that
options. Like you can continue the conversation and end the conversation whenever you want. If you want more details on what's going on, you can continue the conversation, and the conversations can go on for minutes, but you can end it whenever you want to.
yeah, and what I was about to say was that there's actually a mod that's actually
I
created.
actually have that mod installed.
Yeah, like
It actually shows what you're gonna say. But sure, you're still only given four options, which still sucks. But
play on my own.
yeah,
Play on my own. Yeah. Sorry about that.
yeah,
Uh, so yeah, there are those mods out there. I mean, like I have the dialogue mod added, so I know what I'm saying.
yeah,
Because I remember one time I said something like I didn't know what I was gonna say, and
yeah,
basically it made me look like I was a dick to
yeah.
the one NPC. I was
Also,
like,
the one other aspects that are missing is probably the option to play as a retard, like you know what I mean. And I believe, well, I haven't like tried downing my intelligence to one to find out for myself, but considering the fact that your main character is voice acted, I kind of doubt your character would sound like a retard.
me no talk.
Yeah, imagine the voice actor suddenly turned and like started talking like all the super mutants and all that. But
Yeah,
I kind of doubt he would. He would just be really dumb. But even though he doesn't really sound very dumb, it's just really weird.
yeah. See, I have quite a few mods installed. One for the dialogue,
Yeah.
and
But
uh,
they're very basic compared to what you can get on Skyrim or on New Vegas or Fallout 3 because which is understandable because it only
it's new.
just yeah, it's still new. It's been out for 2 to 3 weeks at this point. And I feel like Fallout 4 in general is kind of while it is kind of an improvement in some areas, one, the art style and the settlement mechanic, which is entirely optional, you can do it for yourself. I think they can keep that in. But the many other aspects, such as the karma system and the faction system, which wasn't implemented in New Vegas, which was a very useful system, especially in case if you like accidentally stole something. Because I swear to God, it'd be really a pain in the ass in Fallout 3 where if you accidentally stole something like a fucking roll of paper, like dear God, you are
Or a
beheaded.
poll.
You are excommunicated from this fucking settlement. Get the fuck out. And they literally
Yeah,
everyone shoots you just for stealing that one piece of little thing.
I remember I did them like Oblivion or
Like I
Skyrim.
I, I, I kind of wish they would just give you a warning or something, but no, they literally just attack you on sight just for stealing this one little thing.
Yeah, and even if you drop it or you didn't mean to, like they'd get mad at. If anything, you
Yeah,
could pay like
and when that happens, you would have to like load your
just pay
play
for it.
save.
Like
Yeah,
they remove like 5 caps or even take it back like they
yeah,
are supposed
that
to.
would be more
Depending
useful.
on game. Like for Fallout, it
I
probably would
actually
cost
I
like
actually
five
think that
caps.
I actually think someone might have made a mod for that maybe. Like maybe like if you accidentally stole something
You
like
just got really quiet on my side. I'm sorry.
oh you have still quiet.
Hello?
Hello, hello, hello.
Okay, it just fixed itself.
Okay. Yeah,
That was weird.
yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah. Uh, yeah, overall, yeah, might having technical difficulties here. And basically, I think someone may have made a mod for that, for like that idea you may have said. I'm not really sure, but yeah.
Yeah. Another mod that I got is the no limit on the settlements. Basically, um, there's actually a bar on the top right. If you look, if you go to a settlement and you start building, there's a bar on the top right. At first, I didn't know what that was, and then as I kept building, I saw that it started to slowly climb up, and I was nowhere near finished on trying to build a settlement, and I was really pissed off. I couldn't fix it. I mean, I barely got all the beds for everyone, and barely got enough surroundings to make sure that they're safe.
Yeah.
So I got pissed off, and I looked up the mod, and I was so glad someone made that. Like, I don't think, like I know this is for like performance issues and stuff, but I don't think that when you're building a settlement like IRL that you would have oh no we can't build anymore it's too much stuff nope we need to cut it like really
Yeah.
but if anything I'm just glad that someone made a mod for that and I'm using that to the best of my abilities. Of course I'm
Yeah.
not gonna put too many mods like or too many stuff in there like a skyscraper filled of stuff in one floor. I'm just gonna put enough for
You know, the truth is, speaking of mods, I think the only thing that really saves Fallout, especially for PC, and thank God they're putting mods on the Xbox version, even though I don't know how it's really going to work, but I guess we'll see when we'll find out. But
probably preset mods.
yeah, preset mods. But I think only mods can really save Fallout 4 because overall, I think it's really good. It's a good game. I just don't think it's really as good as New Vegas. Like I'm tempted. I'm actually very tempted just to play the original two Fallout games and probably buy New Vegas on PC because I feel like that's the most superior Fallout game. It's like probably I say it's the most closest to the originals than Fallout 3. Like Fallout 3 was good, but I think New Vegas was very close to the originals because it implemented many systems from the two original games and it really captured its world very well. And I do like the main character you play as where the courier has a blank slate, unlike the other two protagonists as you play as in Fallout 3 and 4, because they both have somewhat of a background. And
Yeah.
in Fallout 4, I think it's a very good action game, but it's a very weak RPG. And I'm sure that would disappoint a lot of old Fallout fans like myself. Well, I wouldn't really call myself an old fan because I'm sure there were fans that been playing Fallout since it first came out, since it was made. And I'm sure a lot of those fans have hated Fallout 3 in New Vegas, or some may have liked it. But those fans who have hated it probably went on and played Wasteland 2. Um, but but the truth is, I think if you really want that like Fallout feeling again, I say try out Wasteland 2. Like I haven't played it, but I feel like it's gone back to that RTS roots, or maybe just play the original too, because I really hope Bethesda improves it, or have Obsidian make do something different, or actually, you know what? I actually remember. You ever hear of Super Bunny Hop?
Super Bunny Hop? I have not.
Yeah, it's a channel. Basically, he made a video about why not make more Fallout spin-offs. And the idea is like Bethesda is an okay developer, but he feels that other developers may put their own spin on the universe and maybe do better. Obsidian did a very good job with New Vegas. While it was very buggy at launch and would randomly crash at times, very buggy, but overall the game was great. And it kind of pales and Fallout 4 just pales in comparison to New Vegas overall. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember you were playing Fallout 3 and New Vegas a lot. Like you spent
I actually put hours into New Vegas. I remember buying New Vegas first, then Fallout 3.
Yeah.
I bought the Ultimate Edition and the Game of the Year edition of both games.
Yeah, I remember playing Fallout 3 because like for the story, and like I just loved it. And I remember I played Fallout New Vegas.
And you must have loved that your dad was voiced by Liam Neeson.
Yeah, when I heard the voice, I was like, "This sounds so familiar."
Yeah. It's from that movie. Oh, and then you remember Taken. I will find you.
Yeah.
And I will kill you.
Yeah, I was like, "What is this?" So I looked at the voice actors, and I'm all like, "Oh my gosh, it's Liam Neeson." So like,
yeah, it's pretty cool how your dad was Liam Neeson, and every time you play that game, and you're probably wondering, how is this kid able to survive this onslaught of like raiders and all? Oh, it's no wonder, because his dad is Liam Neeson. It all makes sense now.
Definitely.
Yeah. Like
There's
I mean, like you have the dad who trained Batman, so. Like I'm not joking. He played as Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins in the Nolan Batman film. So, yeah.
Yeah, there was actually a thing about that. Like, he is a god. He trained Batman, and there was this one sort of thing about it. It's like, you still want to take his daughter?
Yeah. He's technically immortal because he bathes in the. I forget what it's called. It's lost in my mind somewhere. It's basically a bat. He bathes in it every so years when he's weak and old. He regenerates and is young every few years, and he regenerates. So it's why he's lived so long, all these centuries. So he's technically a god. Well, I guess you could say he's human too. Still, he's just able to be immortal because he bathes in it every so years. Yeah, he's technically immortal and all that.
Oh, by the way, I found the thing I was looking for. You know how how you were talking about Fallout? I mean, Fallout New Vegas. How basically you're the courier and you have your own slate. But like,
yeah, you're basically your own character. He has no background. You're just a blank slate. You can create your own character.
Yeah, courier. And you know how basically every Fallout has its own story. Like
Yeah.
So this is what I found. Fallout 1, Vault Dweller. I have to find the water chip to save my vault.
Yeah.
Chosen One, which I'm guessing from Fallout 2. Well, I need to find a Gek to help my people.
Actually, in Fallout 2, you were pretty much a descendant of the first character. You were pretty much either the son or daughter of the protagonist of the first Fallout.
Alright. But then, so the Chosen One is, I need to find a Gek to help my people.
What was the Gek? What was the Gek exactly? It was the Garden of Eden creation kit. What the fuck would it do?
Well, inside inside Fallout 3, it was to help.
I remember watching the intro to Fallout 2 where, basically the intro would Basically, it's basically it starts with an introductory video about leaving the vault. Within a vault, it talks about wearing protective eyes because they've been, for vault dwellers who've been living in the vault for years, and basically we talk about a get, basically something you set up about creating your own new world. And then and the funny part is results may vary. Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure. Was it a virtual reality thing like in Fallout 3 or something? I'm not really sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't play Fallout 1 or 2, so I can't
Like,
really tell.
what? If so, then how the hell would it help your people?
No idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Well, then Fallout 3, the Lone Wanderer says, "I need to find my dad."
Yeah.
So then Fallout 4, Sole Survivor, "I need to find my son." Fallout New Vegas, Courier, yelling loudly from the top.
You have to find the guy who shot you in the head and find the platinum
No,
chip.
this is his quote. "Who's the fucker who shot me in the head?"
Yeah, yeah. Not only the writing and characters, it's also the writing and your dialogue options. I really like the number of dialogue options you have in those two games, especially when you're talking to Butch during the birthday party.
Oh yeah, I freaking
Hey,
hate
that
Bush.
stupid... I remember when Butch says, "Hey, that stupid robot ruined the cake. Give me that sweet roll you gave Miss Palmer." And I believe there was one like, "Oh, you look so hungry, Butch. What, did your mother run out of coupons or something?" Oh my god.
When I heard that, like, if I did a playthrough on that when it first came out, I would have been like, "You are just peachy, aren't you?" Oh, sorry about that. A little sick.
Not doing
But
so well. I hope you don't have the Ebola.
yeah. How long ago was that?
I don't know.
But yeah, I'd be like, "You are just peachy, aren't you?" And I just like I wanted to pick the dick move, but from my personality, like I kind of want to integrate my personality into
Yeah.
the game. Like I'd be, this is my I guess way of dealing with things. If someone's gonna be a dick to you, I just be nice, but yet not
Well,
not really
I
take
wouldn't
shit.
be nice. Basically, I would like respond the way they wouldn't expect me to respond. Here's a one good example. Basically, if you had a bully, basically if a bully came up to you and said, "You're a freaking homo," and then you would say, "Oh yeah, I'm still homo. What's up?" They so yeah, basically you took that negativity and made it positive. So
Yeah, like of course, I just wish they added the sarcasm earlier. Because first off, I love the sarcasm in Fallout 4. It is
oh yeah,
hilarious.
yeah, especially in New Vegas. That transfers over in New Vegas.
You beat were you with the railroad yet?
The
Like
railroad?
yeah, did you beat the storyline on Fallout 4 yet?
No, I have not.
Uh I don't want to spoil it for you.
The truth is, I've only done a day's worth of play just because of that one glitch. Like the one glitch, I'm sure to the people listening, I'm sure some of you may have encountered this glitch. I'm not really sure. Basically, I wouldn't call it a glitch. It was more or less a game-breaking bug for me. You're basically limited to whatever you can explore. It's basically this one square on the map. I'm just going to say it's one square. Basically, you could explore wherever you want on the map, except for going near this green building. Because I swear, every time you go near it, it would crash. Every time I'd done the Brotherhood of Shadow of Steel quest, I believe that's the right name. Basically, I believe I already told you about that one quest where you join with Paladin Dance and you
You
go
had
up
to find the vertebrate.
Yep. And every time I would fly in it, mid-fly, before we would get on the
Pridwin.
Pridwin, yeah, the Pridwin, it would crash. And, okay, that quest doesn't work. Okay, I guess I'll just play it, continue that quest line when the next patch comes on, when it's patched next week. And, then I decided to do the main quest where I had to find the synth, that one synth where it has a chip.
Oh yeah, the course.
Yeah, basically I walked that one area, same crash, and it was at the exact same area where the vertebrate was at. So it was just this one area. Every time you go this one area, it would always crash. So basically, yeah, I'm fucked. All I can do is just explore everything and do all the quests that are out that aren't related to this one area. So
If anything, you might just have to do like a new game because
yeah,
I've experienced some glitches
yeah,
and when I
probably, yeah,
restarted.
but probably, but I don't want to do that. I really don't. Like
Yeah,
you're already dedicated to one character, so It's kind of hard
Yeah.
to let go to it.
Well, since you couldn't get there, do you want me to tell you one of the sarcastic responses?
Uh, Actually, I did get there because I have actually put 24 hours to play it. Basically, they released the patch, which was in beta, so I had to activate the beta on properties, and then I was able to play it. And and I'm sure the sarcastic response was a pizza delivery one, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yes,
It
yes,
was
yes.
hilarious.
Yeah,
Spoiler.
yeah.
Sorry.
I'll place a spoiler on the editing. Yeah.
Yeah, the I just thought it was hilarious. It's like, if you're not here for the synth, then why are you here? I'm here
I'm.
to pick up a pizza. One pepperoni, one cheese. Name order for fuck you. I
Yep.
just thought that
Yep.
was hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Some of the sarcastic lines are good. There are good lines, but the one thing that ruins it is that you can't know what you're gonna say. That's the worst part.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's actually really good to hear it. You know what? I wouldn't mind a voice, and like the only thing that really kills it is the options you have in the dialogue in Fallout 4 in general. The voice doesn't really kill it. It's just that I kind of wish it gave you more options. I wish it kind of did what Saints Row did because I like how in Saints Row it gives you a different variety of voice. You want to be British, you want to be a regular, you want to be Australian, you want to be African American. Like I don't know why they didn't account this. Like I swear, if you play a character who's of a different race, like imagine if you made a native character or a black character. Like I mean, it would seem rather odd having your character sound like that.
Yeah. I mean, like, if anything, I can understand that the voice acting could have been a variety, like instead of it just being solely one person voicing it.
Yeah.
Because like
You know what one RPG should do? Like an RPG should have you record your voice and have like RPG would have a database of voices that would sound a different variety of different voices, and they'll pick the one just very similar to yours. That would be a cool thing to have.
that'd be a lot of work, though. Sadly.
Yeah, that would definitely be a lot of work, but that's AAA development. We don't want to put in the work. And the only developers that are really putting in the work and who actually care about their game is the indie devs. So, but then again, you can't really blame them because they would much rather go the safe route because AAA development over the years games have gotten a lot more expensive. Like take GTA 5 for example, it's as expensive as Lord of the Rings and much films. And as you know, like video games are making as much money as the movie industry, so there's a lot of money involved, so from a business standpoint, I can understand it, but eventually we're going to need to make a shakeup because AAA development is kind of in this awkward stage. I believe we talked about this before we actually started recording, basically. It's kind of in this awkward stage. Like, I remember playing a lot of the older games. I remember, you look at Devil May Cry, Silent Hill 2, and there were a lot of other games who have experimented. Like Devil May Cry invented the beat 'em up. Basically, it was create. I remember Devil May Cry 3 being one of the best beat 'em up games ever. It's a diverse games of moves and challenges and all that. And Silent Hill was the 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 standard for survival horror, up there with Resident Evil, especially with storytelling and survival horror. If there's one kind of effective kind of horror, it's psychological horror, and that's the kind of shit that would give you nightmares and scare you. And you look at gaming today and look at last year, for example. You had many disappointments. You have Watch Dogs, the two console exclusives, Infamous Second Son and Sunset Overdrive, which was a disappointment for me because I actually thought from the trailer it looked really fun. And overall, this console generation has been very underwhelming compared to last generation of gaming. Do you think?
Well, it's just that I feel like the companies, they're just trying to get games out there just for
Yeah.
people to like give them money.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much. They just need to get games out there because it same goes with when a console is first released. It's a reason why games during when consoles don't get that many good games during its first and second year.
but th-
So it may be unfair for me to say it's a bit underwhelming because it's underwhelming for a reason. Because keep in mind, those two games were released during the first actual year of gaming, which was of this console gen, which was 2014. Keep that in mind. So 2015 was a very good year for gaming. We gotten The Witcher 3, and we gotten Hotline Miami 2, which was really good game. And I believe there's a third one, but I can't really name it on top of my head. But I believe 2015 is as good as 2007 or 2004. Those were really good years for gaming.
Yeah, I mean, like, by the way, going back to the, well, I mean, like, continuing this, um, like as I said, a game or companies, sorry, I keep messing that up, keep trying to pump out games, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to diss Assassin's Creed. Like, don't
Yeah,
get me
it's
wrong,
released released yearly, much like Call of Duty.
don't get me wrong. I loved the Assassin's Creed series,
Yeah,
but I feel like
I really liked Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. It's like it's
Brotherhood was my pinnacle. Like,
oh
that was
yeah,
the
yeah.
highest point.
That was pinnacle. That's the one that introduced the for you to recruit assassins members. You could
Yeah,
level them up to you could level them up to the point for them to the rank of an actual assassin. And
yeah.
this was also implemented in future Assassin's Creed games. I'm not really sure.
There
I
was it was
yeah,
in Revelations, but Revelations was
kind of
about the
weak.
same.
Well,
Like,
from a story standpoint, I think it was just as good. Like
yeah,
I kind of thought I really liked how it wrapped up Altair's story because
yeah.
I thought Altair's story was much better in Revelations than it was in the first one because I like how it
Yeah, to
wrapped
an accent.
I like how they wrapped up his story and I like how they gave him an actual voice
Yeah, an
like
accent
no
and all. Like,
an
that's
accent where
good.
it actually fit from his heritage.
Yeah, but oh yeah, continue on. Sorry. Uh, for Assassin's Creed, like they have been doing good so far, and I know that uh probably I think it was Unity that was actually being worked on since Assassin's Creed 2.
Unity is one game out of my Xbone. I got it Christmas last year. Haven't touched it since.
Like,
The game was buggy as fuck. I'm sorry. The frame drops were horrible, and I do not understand why they implemented so many fucking crowds in that game. It's just sure
I did.
I get the whole immersion thing, but the frame rate was just horrible. Same goes for PC because PC has a rocky relationship with uh, games being launched, right? Because they have a history of broken games at launch, unless it's on console. Because I swear, games are released in a much better state than they are on PC. Because many PC ports are put on the back burner for some reason because they think because consoles are the ones that make the most money, which is true. Sure, there's a lot of money on Steam, but you know, yeah.
Yeah, AC Unity was okay. Like,
I haven't played it. Like I couldn't really give a shit less about the story or
I
anything. It's
I
just
played it. I thought it was okay, but then
I
when
guess.
I heard that I heard that
Keep in mind this was just after AC this was Assassin's Creed 4. This was just after we started playing as a pirate, which actually
yeah,
which implemented the boat, the ship combat. Yeah, the ship combat was introduced in AC3 where you played as Connor, right?
yeah,
And during Civil War times, which is I guess okay setting, but from a story standpoint, that was kind of weak. AC4 was actually a much better Assassin's Creed because not only did not only was the story aspect outside the Animus was mostly ignored. Same goes for Unity. Even though the story in that one is still somewhat weak, but in AC4, I think from a gameplay standpoint, is much better when you're not playing in the ship combat because I think the same gameplay outside ship has gotten very stale, but the ship combat is very fun, and I really enjoyed attacking other ships and taking their cargo and all that shit and upgrading my ship and becoming the best pirate in the Caribbean seas.
yeah.
Yeah.
The when I was playing that, Black Flag was pretty fun. Yeah, the story was somewhat memorable. Like,
Yes,
it's just been a while since
Connor is probably the closest to Ezio, I guess maybe.
Connor. Like, I liked how each of them had their own
Or
personality.
no, no,
However,
no, 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 not Connor, not Connor. The guy in Black Flag. That's not his name. That's
Edward.
that Edward. Yeah, he's the closest to Ezio.
Yeah, because he actually has a personality as well. See,
Yeah,
Connor,
yeah. Connor was weak. Connor was really weak. Like there
he was
were
either super
dull,
serious,
very
like
super
he was
dull,
he either was just a straight face, blanked, didn't know
and
anything.
angry.
Yeah, it was either blank or angry. It was only
Yeah,
those two settings. Never happy,
and
never
I think
all.
the only time you actually give a shit about him is when he's a child and when his mother dies.
Yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, Connor. Like I believe there was some awkward parts where like there's this one part where he's trying to go up to Achilles. For some reason, I remember the guy's name. For some reason, the guy who trains Connor to be assassin. I don't know why I remember his name. I don't know why. I think it might have been his voice. Probably because
it was
probably
because he
because
wanted him to train him.
probably because he reminded me of Prince, sort of. I don't know why. Uh, yeah. Basically, there's one part where he's trying to force him to leave. And basically, there's this one awkward one that says, I'm not leaving. You hear me?" He's yelling, and then he says in normal voice, "I'm never leaving."
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. It's just really stunted voice acting. Sure, I kind of like how he uses his native language, much like his mother in some parts, but he's like his race doesn't really make his character. Race doesn't make a character. Okay, he's a dull character. So
yeah. If anything, he needed more emotion.
yeah, Ezio brought more light to the character. Like he seemed a lot more human than Altair, which is why people
He had a sense of
considered.
humor.
Yeah, he was, and I kind of like how you saw him grow as a character. You literally saw this guy grow and develop throughout three games. Like the Ezio trilogy of AC are probably the best from a story standpoint.
Yeah. As for story though, Unity wasn't really a memorable story. Like
No,
I played through it and
no, not at all.
I hardly remember anything. All I remember is that you
I all I
you have to get a
remember
sword.
all I remember is you playing as a kid and your dad says, "Wait here, son. I need to do some shit," and
He
gives you
dies.
and yeah, and he
Yeah.
dies from a Templar, and it turns out he was assassin. Blah 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 blah. It's like they were kind of doing the same thing with like Assassin's Creed 2, where it turns out your dad was an assassin, and yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I really remember is that the beginning part where the you're actually a Templar who grabbed the sword and you had to fight an assassin, or you were an assassin trying to fight a Templar. One of those two.
Actually, I think when AC Unity was released, the much better game was actually AC Rogue, where you actually played
As a Templar,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, you at first you played as an assassin, but he actually turns into a Templar,
yeah. Like I remember,
which is very interesting because it kind of connects with it not only incorporates the ship combat, also connects to AC3 because you actually meet up with Hathan at one point in the game,
yeah,
which is
you,
Connor's father, by the way.
yeah, I know, and also the person you play as inside Rogue is actually the person who killed the guy inside the guy's father. I forgot who he is in Unity. You know how you said that your dad dies. Basically, the one in Rogue is the one who killed him.
Huh?
The character you play as.
I haven't played Rogue, but well, from what I've heard, it was better than Unity at least.
I never played it. I wanted to play it, but I just didn't have the money at the time. So I couldn't buy it.
I actually feel like I'm gonna like years later, I'm gonna suddenly like discover that game and just play it, and I like realize, holy shit, this is much better than Unity. And yeah,
I did not get Syndicate, by the way.
yeah, I feel like we should probably change subjects. Let's move
Too
on.
much Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. We're talking about Assassin's Creed, even though not much of Assassin's Creed is happening at the moment.
Well, I mean, Unity
Like I
did. I
mean,
mean, Syndicate came out. Sorry, but
oh
like
yeah. Syndicate. Yeah, Syndicate was
the most recent one,
yeah the
and
most recent. Okay.
I did not get
Yeah,
it
I believe we should
because
talk about this. Talk about Syndicate for a bit. Uh,
I did not.
I didn't really pay that much attention to Syndicate. It didn't really catch my eye or anything. It's I don't know. It's kind of the AC franchise kind of getting dull, especially with a lot of their like other Ubisoft games, because I feel like Ubisoft is copy and pasting. Like you see it in Far Cry 2, like they're like a lot of the open world Ubisoft games, they kind of feel like a checklist. You know what I mean? There's a
Yeah.
checklist of things you have to do. Same goes with Watch Dogs, which was underwhelming. Like there was a whole controversy about it not looking as good as it did when it was first revealed at E3, and it turns out the how it originally looked was in the code of the PC, and you can make it like how it originally looked on the E3 by looking at the code in PC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can mod it in there. So yeah, Ubisoft games tend to follow the same formula. They've been following the same formula since the first Assassin's Creed, I guess. Or I think it was the second Assassin's Creed. Yeah, it's like Assassin's Creed 1 was somewhat open world, I guess, maybe. I'm not really sure.
See,
And
was Syndicate like I didn't get it for a couple reasons. One, like I saw the grappling hook, which I thought was okay. Like sure you
yeah,
get grappling hook, but another thing
I don't know. Like it feels like they're kind of making like platforming even easier, even though it's already easier. All you have to do is like hold two buttons. That's it.
yeah, and
Or
then
actually, no. I think you only have to hold one button now because I remember with AC3, they only switch it just holding the trigger.
yeah, for running.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also they started adding more guns. Like the reason why I liked Assassin's Creed is because first off, it was in the past and you don't get that many guns inside.
Well, it's not
Well,
like the guns really add much. It's not like you can use it multiple times where it made the game easier. No,
you
it's just like
you get a revolver in that one,
yeah,
and
you do.
just it just makes it too easy. Like the reason why people play games is for the
Well,
challenges things.
but then again, you could also argue the AC franchise have been easy since day one because all like from AC 1 to now, I guess was counter. That's it. Counter to win. That's it.
Because if you didn't counter, or at least if you attacked, you get counter yourself. There's still a challenge to it.
Somewhat, yes, because some animes change it up, but compare it to Dark Souls or beat 'em ups such as Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, it's very it's child's play in comparison.
Yeah. As
It's
for
I think that's one reason why such a series has gotten so popular because it's a very easy game to pick up and play. But I don't think it's very it can easily appeal to a lot of people compared to Call of Duty, for example, where it's a game you can easily pick up and play no problem. I believe we already talked about this over Steam Chat, where it has a 5 to 6 hour campaign, which isn't as long as most RPGs, and and chances are that campaign's going to be underwhelming. Like take Advanced Warfare for example. Press E to salute. That's the high
yeah, I've
note.
heard about that.
That's their high note of storytelling. Like they're acting like you actually give a shit. Because to be truly honest, I wish the Call of Duty series never really took itself so seriously. Like take Battlefield Bad Company for example. Had the perfect campaign. It was pretty much just a buddy action comedy. The game it didn't take itself too seriously, and I loved it for that. Like you can even see it in the main menu music, and and the multiplayer was just good too, just as good as any Battlefield. And coming back to Call of Duty, a lot of it was underwhelming with the campaigns, but with the multiplayer, you could easily pick it up and play no problem in short bursts, and it's fun to play with your friends. And I'm sure it's still fun to play now. I'm sure not much has changed aside from the fact that you're able to double jump. They pretty much incorporated a lot of elements of Titanfall into Advanced Warfare. They pretty much took a lot of notes from Respawn Entertainment, which is some of the guys who originally worked at Infinity Ward, which was a whole controversial thing happened when Modern Warfare 2 was released, and Activision and Infinity Ward had a whole debacle about the payment or something. I'm not really sure. Like I should look that up maybe.
Yeah, for COD, like I'm gonna say this, and like some people may agree, some people may hate me for this, but it has been done over and over again, and like
Yeah.
that's probably why it's losing people.
Yeah,
However,
but as I
people are
mentioned
good.
as I mentioned earlier, AAA games in general has gotten more expensive. So
Then
from a business standpoint, it makes sense.
I also talked to my friend, and this is what he said that every game has been done over, like everything's on the third or fourth done over or storyline for it. Like take for example Halo or Assassin's Creed as well. If you, but however, Call of Duty is on like its eighth or ninth instead of it just being the fourth or fifth
Oh yeah.
install. And to me, it's literally the same thing on each gameplay for
Yeah,
all Call of
yeah.
Duty. But for
Unless
Battlefield,
unless you look at the campaigns, I guess maybe.
yeah, campaigns are different. But
Somewhat.
as for
We're still in Call of Duty here, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
but
Basically,
uh,
I believe I feel like Call of Duty should go back to World War II because I feel like we haven't been getting a lot of World War II shooters lately. Or why not World War One? Have we ever gotten a World War One game?
we
Uh,
had a Call of Duty World at War. That's last one I remember.
that was the last World at War, like the last World War Two game in the World War Two setting. But the funny thing is though, Call of Duty started out as against World War Two, and I'm sure a lot of kids watching it and kids watching this probably didn't even know that, and probably only started like playing Call of Duty after one or
Call of Duty
two.
4,
Yeah,
5.
yeah, that's how it really started. That's how it really got popular, and that's when it was first was good.
Yeah.
It's very basic compared to the rest, but it's still pretty good. And I'd be surprised if people were still playing it. But if I had it on PC, I'd be or if I still had it on Xbox or PC, I would be curious if people were still playing it.
Yeah. As for the Call of Duty though, as I was getting that, campaign might be the same, but gameplay is the same thing over
Yeah,
and over again. Like you
okay,
get a set of
the
stuff.
gameplay is boring with every campaign. Like, look at your hands. Like, compare your hands, your movement of your hands with campaign to multiplayer. Your hands are moving a lot frantically than they are in campaign because it's very boring. Because I feel like a lot of the enemies you kill in campaign just line up to die. You just stay still and just shoot, point and shoot, point and shoot. It just gets boring and monotonous.
Yeah, and then for other games, they add stuff like Halo.
They have
Halo 3,
challenge.
your Halo 3, you were just running slowly, and then you'd pick up a gun, maybe jump or throw a grenade, or go
Yeah,
behind
there's
some.
a. I think
That
Halo 3 is slightly better, I guess, maybe I guess, but from a story standpoint, I feel like actually from a story standpoint, Halo 3 or the Halo franchise in general is slightly better because I feel like it has a very interesting world. It just doesn't try to make a compelling story. You know what I mean? It just doesn't even try. And now that we're speaking of Halo now, let's talk about Halo 5 for example.
they added a
Yeah,
lot more between
yeah,
Halo 3 and
but
5. They
they still taken a lot of things away compared to Halo 4. Like they taken away Forge, they taken away local split screen. Angry Joe pointed this out, and and uh, and the campaign is kind of weak. I mean, take the advertisements for example. You know the Hunt the Truth advertisements.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah,
that Halo 5 was a big letdown on the campaign,
yeah, it was,
and
and like
it's just a build up for Halo 6, really.
sure. It seemed kind of interesting at first. You actually saw returning characters from Fall of Reach, like you know the old Spartans, much like with like Master
Spartan
Chief.
2s, I believe.
Yeah, those were there was fuck, I can't remember their names, but basically they were in Fall of Reach. They were the original Spartans. They were basically
One was June.
they one was June.
Yeah, June was the sniper, and he's the only surviving member of Noble Team, and
Well, yeah.
He's the
Oh
only
yeah,
one who
yeah.
recruited the Spartan Fours, I believe.
Oh yeah,
He's the one
that
who.
one person Smart Force. So wait, was he in Halo 5?
I'm not sure if he was in Halo 5, but he was the one who recruited Buck into the Spartan 4
Oh
program, and that's
yeah.
how he was on.
Buck was one character I was surprised to see because he was actually one of my favorite characters in ODST, but he doesn't really say much. The most he ever says is talking to Locke, where
Buying a
Locke.
drink.
Yeah, that's it. That's bar jokes. Yeah, like we haven't seen that in any army movie ever.
I mean, I remember hearing that there's a book that came out recently on how, well, not recently, maybe a couple of months ago, but it was actually how Buck, like throughout Buck's life, on how he through oh sorry, going through some stuff about him becoming a Spartan 4. It's called Halo New Blood. I have the book right here.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so far it was pretty good.
Actually be very useful. We had a webcam, but I guess that can be something that can be fixed for future podcasts, maybe.
It was on my note.
Yeah.
But like, if I, yeah, I'm probably gonna get one soon.
Yeah.
Uh,
I might consider getting one
and
too.
and basically it goes through some missions. It's a little confusing. Like I saw a review about it, saying that it starts off at one point, goes in the past a bit, and then the past a bit more, and then back in the future, and then in the past and the future, and like I heard that's a little confusing, but if you read it, I heard that's pretty good, and I read about halfway through it, but then I got busy, so I haven't been able to finish it just yet. But I recommend it if you want to go ahead and see more
Yeah,
what it's like.
there's a lot of good examples of written books based on the Halo universe, and it's kind of sad how many of those writers have done the Halo universe a lot more justice than the actual games, because I feel like all the games after the first Halo have really just went the minimal approach, especially with the story. Like, I mean, it feels like they're not really trying with the story anymore, especially Halo 5. I mean, Bungie did a sort of okay job, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. But the only thing, let's be true honest here, I think the only thing Halo is really going to be remembered for is its multiplayer. Like, I grew up on Halo. I remember playing the
At first,
first.
it was story. At first,
Yeah,
it was story.
yeah, it was. It was the most you could ever get with Halo multiplayer was basically get a bunch of friends over and connect multiple Xboxes and hoping you had multiple TVs. Like, for example, if you wanted to do a typical Team Slayer, you would have two Xboxes and two TVs, and with each two TVs, there would be four players on each screen, and that connect LAN. But now, since with the advent of Xbox Live and with Halo 2 coming out, created one of the best online shooter experience, which is one multiplayer experience many console players adore, and I'm sure a lot of PC players may say otherwise because PC players have been experiencing that for years, but console players have first experienced what PC players have been experiencing for years, and that's just one thing that we've seen a lot of changes with consoles. Like ever since the 7th gen of consoles, we've seen the 7th gen seeing consoles go away from local multiplayer into online multiplayer, which is kind of sad because I kind of miss having friends come over and play with me physically rather than just online and talking over a microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of Halo overall with its story, if like I may as well add another spoiler here. Like I'm not going to go into too much detail about the ending, but I may as well add a spoiler if you don't really want to know. But basically, the ending in Halo 5 pretty much pulls a Halo 2. It's pretty much just a fucking cliffhanger. That's it. Like, really? Like, 343, they wanted... I was hoping they would do better, and... Actually, Halo 4 was a good story, because I thought the cutscenes were better. I like how Master Chief wasn't standing around doing nothing, like, blankly. He actually talks a lot more than he actually did in the previous Halo games. You notice that?
Making up for all the not talking in the past games. That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, it's really weird. And Halo 4 was a very interesting... It was basically a love story between a man that's becoming more machine and a AI becoming more human. And her die in that one... And okay, I guess I'll have another spoiler warning about Halo 4. And basically the scene where Cortana dies... you actually hear Master Chief crack up with emotion, sort of, which is very interesting, and near the end of it, you see Master Chief looking at the void, like he's just like an empty shell. Like all he's seen was war and death, and he's becoming more machine than human, which is very interesting. But Halo 5 is somewhat taking it backwards. Sure, it's kind of interesting. It seems kind of interesting at first until you realize it doesn't really do much with what it has. I like how with the campaign you're accompanied by three Spartans, your three AI companions, but it's made the game a lot easier, as stated by Angry Joe. So he recommended that like the campaign should be played by Heroic, which I think should be the default for like the Halo series in general, because if you want at least somewhat of a challenge, just play it on Heroic, because and some of you might say, why not on Legendary? Well, Legendary is bullshit most of the time, really. It just feels like bullshit to me.
Yeah, I remember I was playing a Halo 4 Legendary, and I'm behind cover, out of nowhere, incendiary cannon hits me.
Yeah.
Even though I'm all like, where did that come from?
Yeah, and they're constantly shooting their guns like crazy. It's just, what the fuck? This is madness.
This is Halo!
Yes, yes. I was just weighing. I thought I was gonna say it, but you said it. uh, yeah, but anyway, I give up on the Halo story now. It's all about the more multiplayer at this fucking point, and even the multiplayer has gone down because microtransactions. Oh
They,
yes,
I've been
they have infected Halo now. So,
Where's the only safe places? Where?
uh, isn't it bad enough that it's in mobile games? I couldn't care less about mobile games because they do not appeal to me at all. They pretty much appeal to non-gamers.
The mobile
Okay,
games are only if you're bored at somewhere else.
yes, no. If you're just bored, if you're just playing it because you're bored, then you're not a gamer. Okay, it's
Mobile, mobile
it's
games do not are not equivalent to regular games.
uh, I guess console games, any game that's on console or PC.
Anything that requires an internet connection, where like,
But then again,
well, sorry,
a
sorry.
lot of phones require
Okay,
internet connection or carrier.
something that you can't move is it cannot be portable.
Yeah. Well, there are dedicated portable systems, but then again, a lot of those people don't really buy them because
Like PlayStation Vita
unlike the
or DS.
mobile games you get on the
Phone games. How
on
about
the
that? Phone games are not considered.
well, I call them mobile games, but
There's the PS Vita and the
when you take the
DS.
Vita and the 3DS, they're a lot more expensive. I think they're $30 to $40 at most, and it's a lot more expensive compared to any game you could get. I'll call it get because I'm guaranteed a lot of those free to play games have microtransactions, and they do follow the example of free to play because any game that's free to play you can play it normally, but you can use money to progress further, like with many free to play MMOs.
And I hate those.
Well, they're not too bad as long as it's not pay to win or it
I
forces you
know.
unless it forces you to use them.
I know. I mean, like people, although like somehow they have so much money to spare, so they pay for all the top-notch gear, all the top-notch
Yep.
everything, and they basically wreck people, and that makes people so mad that
Yeah,
they try and get their own thing, and that just ruins it.
it just ruins the balancing.
Yeah. So
And
good
yeah,
to you guys who are not pay-to-win players who
yeah,
do everything legitly
yeah,
and earn
yeah.
everything.
If you pay for microtransactions, you're pretty much perpetuating this bullshit. I mean, I'm sorry, it's just really you don't have enough money as it is. Like we're already pushing DLC. Like
Throw some money my way. How about
yeah,
that?
no,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
enough isn't enough. Like no, but as I remember the name of it, it's the requisition points. Basically, it wouldn't really give you like points or increase your stats. No, it's basically the typical armor pieces and all that, which was introduced in Reach, if you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't call it game breaking, but I do wonder why. Just why do this? Ugh.
I think you can really do right.
Yeah. Also, speaking of DLC, Battlefront, which was another one of the recent releases that came out this November. Right next, I believe it came out the week after Fallout 4, or was it the same week with Fallout 4?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Basically, it turns out a lot of the reviews coming out for it were very average, but actually the truth is it's a lot more underwhelming than you think it is. I recently saw Total Biscuit's latest video, and he literally hates the game. And for good reason, because it's very lacking in content compared to the original Battlefront games, because not only did the Battlefront games have a campaign, but not only did you play with a lot more players, there was a lot more maps, and plus it had two different eras. There was the prequel era and the original Star Wars era. Basically, there were the clones and droids, and there were the clones and rebels. With the Battlefront we have now, well, they call it just Star Wars Battlefront, but I'm just going to call it Star Wars Battlefront 3. And I hoped for it to be great because this is DICE. Because if you played Battlefield or Battlefront, they seem very similar to one another, right? Especially that one mode where you capture points and all that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's large-scale battles, which is what DICE does well. So they couldn't pick a more appropriate developer, but sadly, Battlefront was very rushed. And it was rushed to meet right next to the release with Star Wars Episode 7 The Force Awakens. So it's pretty much as close to a movie licensed game, sadly. And I think more or less it's mostly sold purely because of its license. And I believe they're also cashing in on the nostalgia for the Battlefront license in general because and ever since this happened, it just pisses me off even more when Disney closed LucasArts.
I didn't like how Disney got Star Wars. Really, I mean, like now
Yeah.
everything's gonna have to be a certain.
Well, I still hope like Episode 7 won't be as bad. I hope not. I hope we don't have to relive Episode 1. Well, but then again, what the fuck am I talking about reliving Episode 1? I'm not one who stood in line for Episode 1. I was probably still probably like 4 or 5 when it came out, or
Yeah, I
even
don't even
less.
understand what everyone's saying.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, basically, you look at the content the game has, it's very underwhelming. And at release, it's obviously pushing the content, the DLC, the Deluxe Edition and Starter Edition. Basically, you purchase the Deluxe Edition. Not only do you get this special emote, which are fucking useless, which no one will ever do in the middle of the game because shit's going on. You also got Han Solo's blaster. Yeah, because even though you can easily unlock it when playing it. But I guess they include it for a reason because unlocking shit takes forever because for good reason because there's barely anything to unlock, just barely. There's a total of 11 guns, and a lot of them will feel the same for good reason because you're firing blasters, by the way.
There's only one thing I didn't really get. Han Solo always puts his hand up when he's shooting, like his backhand. Like you know how he has the
Yeah.
pistol in his right hand, his left hand like comes up, like behind him, like he's like leaning forward, and his
Huh.
left hand is like head level. I never understood that. Like, can you just shoot regularly, or
I don't
is it
know. Well, I
counterbalanced
guess
or
he's trying. I
something?
guess he's trying to shoot like as he would. It's like Han Solo is more of a.
His
eh,
style.
Well, no. Like as you probably know, a lot of Star Wars fans probably know is Star Wars a mixture of many different things. Like you could say, Jedi's are similar to samurais,
They
and
are actually based off of
yeah,
samurai.
and
I looked it up.
Han Solo is a representation of the good guy or the Western hero.
All right,
Yeah, like you could say his blaster is much like a revolver.
even though it's not.
Even though it's not, but he does shoot it like a revolver almost. Especially that one scene in episode 4.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he does the quick draw.
Yeah, and okay, a little off topic here. But considering the lack of content, it really disappoints me. It's just yeah, like you play it for one day and you feel like you played most of it already. And by the way, it has no campaign, much like the 2 original Battlefront games. So it's a
It's probably
multiplayer.
just
It's a multiplayer only game, which can work as long as it has enough content. I mean, take Battlefield 3 and 4 for example. Those campaigns were shit, absolute shit. Like they were overly dramatic, and I couldn't care less about them. And Battlefield 4 was even worse. And I feel like those 2 games would have been fine without the campaigns. Like the multiplayer on, so like those 2 games can stand on their own 2 feet without the campaign. Same goes for Call of Duty. Okay, like sure you're kind of playing for the same game, but yeah. So
yeah.
mm. Yeah, but kind of went on a bit of a tangent there a little bit. I'd say the next topic we can talk about is microtransactions and how they've been kind of getting worse. Like, it's really shit.
They tried making mods being paid for. If you guys don't remember hearing about
Oh
that.
yeah. I remember with the Steam Workshop where basically I'm not joking. Valve would literally get most of the profits from the mods, where Bethesda would only get 20 or 30%, which is kind of mind-boggling because they're the ones that made the fucking game.
Yep.
Like, shouldn't it be the other way around? Like, shouldn't like Bethesda get most profits while like Valve gets some of it for providing the service on their website or their Steam program or online service?
I wouldn't know the specifics. I mean, like, there's they probably would estimate it a certain
And
way.
yeah, it was destined to fail anyways. It only lasted for 3 days until it closed, and plus, considering the fact that it's like for years mods have been free, and now that we're making them paid for, it's kind of going to lead to a lot. If this system was still being implemented today, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of copyright issues were uh, listed towards these mods since they were being paid for now.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you were to pay for mods, I bet a lot of people would stop playing, or at least uh, pay for like regular game and then not even
Like I
worry
mean, I
about
feel like
modding it.
and a lot of like so-called quote unquote modders actually literally copied mods and sold them for themselves
Yeah,
and claimed ownership and made money off someone else's work. So it feels like the modders doing it for the wrong reasons. I feel like modding is a good way to get into game development. Like it's a good way to like knowing how to make games. If you want to like get into game development, that's your way to do it. Make mods,
there.
actually make something. So
See, I actually found a mod for Fallout 4 that uh, it increases the texture for the ground. However, it also well not however it also uh, does one uh, does 1/4 less performance or something like that, or it gives 1/4 more performance. I forgot what it was, but like basically, it gives better texture and it helps run your game smoother as well, which I thought was pretty cool.
hmm.
Like I didn't know the specifics of it. I just heard about it and I was like, wow, that is amazing. And uh,
We are talking about texture here. It's not like we haven't seen it in other games where they
yeah, I
improve
mean,
the textures or the flora or the grass.
yeah,
Yeah.
but whenever you improve the textures, usually
Yeah,
the
it does.
high graphics would
Yeah, like
tune
I
down.
do like how the add ship of mods or adding mods does like like it helps game like I'm pretty sure with many graphical mods for Skyrim you can make it look just as good as any game that's being released right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I'm sure you wouldn't like make it as good. Like I mean, I'm sure I don't think there's really that many mods any mod I can think of that can really tax on your system. Like I'm sure many of the mods were made to make your game look pretty, but not too much where it would like tax your graphics card to the point where you can't run it as well as you would earlier. Like it's like with many graphical mods I've added to Skyrim, it still plays at a steady 60 frames per second.
Yeah. I mean, like, speaking of frames, by the way, people are like kind of sad about 30 frames per second and think 60 is okay. Like, personally, for me, 60 is pretty good, but I don't know why people go like super high up. I know
60 frames is the fundamental, like the bare minimum you need, but 30 frames is playable. It's fine.
yeah,
But for fighters, you need precise moves and precise button combinations to make your move.
yeah,
And for any game in a competitive setting, 60 frames per second is a necessity.
yeah. I remember hearing that Halo
Because I
5.
feel because I feel like 30 frames per second is a detriment in a competitive setting.
I heard that Halo 5 like uh you need to have a quality connection or something like that because the what's it called, the performance actually depends on it. So like if you have uh 30 frames and the other person has 60, and say you just got behind a wall where you're safe and the other person had 60 frames or so, then apparently he could shoot you and like it might be a delayed time
Huh.
and you die. So like
So is this like lag or something?
yeah, it. I guess it's the difference between people, and like it creates a small bit of lag, and it would actually make you lose a little
Huh.
bit more if the other guy's
Yeah,
really
that's
good.
it's not really something we haven't really seen haven't seen before. Like I mean,
I
lag
mean, it's
can
not lag
lag
switcher like people
well
would lag switch. By the
like
way,
yeah, lag in general is kind of like a bitch in general. Like I mean, that's the only ground you can really stand on. Like, I mean, like, you know how people rage at their games when they lose? Like, I mean, if you have a steady connection and you're still raging, it's like, what the fuck? No! Like, no! I win, and, like, they're are raging at the game. Like, the only ground you stand on when you lose is lag. But other than that, either you go big or you go home. If you either you lose like a man or you can cry to mommy. So yeah.
God.
Mommy, the little man called me meanie things online and he killed me multiple times. And daddy would come and bitch slap him across me. Man the fuck up!
I'm not gonna lie, my parents, like when I was playing Call of Duty, my parents didn't like it when I played because,
Oh yeah.
well, actually no,
You would
they didn't
yell,
like when
wouldn't
my
you?
brother played because what happened was that we would always rage or something. It's like, why don't you just get off the game? And it's like, no, I don't want to get off, and like it's clearly not fun. And, like I actually saw this video or something. I'm not sure if it was a video or if it was just something I read, but basically what happened was that so like clearly it's not fun. And he says, "This is fun. You don't know what fun is." And he's like just raging. And I'm like, "What the hell?" This wasn't my bro. I'm just saying, like, this is something I saw,
Oh
and
my
like
god.
that's basically what everyone is doing when they're raging. Like,
Ugh. Yeah,
like
it's that's the one part of gaming I tend to like avoid being. Like especially I can understand it when you're a kid. Like I mean, kids do tend to have a temper tantrum even when they're not playing games, so it's kind of normal. I would remember literally like my Xbox 360 controller here. Like remember this is DualShock. I would literally get so I would remember getting so mad at the game. I would literally like hit the controller on the fucking ground or floor or whatever. So yeah.
my brother broke one.
Oh my god. I know.
Like he broke the analog stick. He got so mad that he pressed on the analog
Oh.
so bad that it chipped off
Yeah.
the little analog part, like the flat surface. And also, if you push the analog stick one direction, it'll stay that way. And like, I was like, "Come on, really? You're that mad?" But like, I understand people who could rage quit. I mean, like, I had my fair share of rage, but like now, after being a gamer for quite a while, you just can't get that mad. I mean, like, hey, you died. Get over it. Just try to kill the next person. And if you don't like if you get pissed off, take a break.
Yeah. Or just have a
And
beer.
depending on your age, if you're six, disregard.
Um, you know what? I think alcohol, like, let's be real here. I'm pretty sure teenagers are going to get their hands on it either way, whether or not it's legal or not. I feel like,
I don't condone it. I do not
well,
condone it.
I do not, I would not condone it either, even though I've done it myself. But, I wouldn't condone it. But, I do feel like it's kind of like safe sex. Like, I mean, you can't stop kids from having sex, so
Mommy, mommy.
you could at least teach them how to do it right. I mean, the do's and don'ts about sex and the do's and don'ts about alcohol.
It's time to have the talk of the birds and the bees, son.
Well, okay, what would be the phrase for alcohol?
The drinking and not drinking.
I don't know.
I don't
Maybe
know
maybe
either.
we'll find out saying. I don't know. But anyways, let's move on to a different topic here.
Okay,
The
I'm okay
state.
with that.
How about the state of consoles?
Like, what do you mean?
Uh, Consoles in general. I've noticed that both the Xbox and PS4 are exactly the same.
Yeah, the console war thing. I think it's just a friendly debate,
Yeah,
really. But
no. When I think of the console war, I think of fanboys pissing and moaning over who has the better toy.
yeah, like to me, like both of them are good. It's just which
Yeah,
one.
they're both good. It's just they're both the same.
To me,
like
it's just like whatever your friends are gonna be on. Like,
yeah, pretty
if half of
much.
them are gonna be on this, half of them are gonna be on that,
Yeah,
then okay, just pick a
pretty
side.
much.
But
It's
like,
pretty much.
it's not.
It's pretty much your console choice is pretty much dependent on your friends and what console or platform they're playing on. If a lot of your friends are PC gamers, you're PC gamer. If a lot of your friends are PlayStation gamers, you're a PlayStation gamer. And chances are a lot of your friends were Xbox gamers and moved on to PlayStation 4, and now they're all playing on PlayStation 4.
I say the only reason why they moved over to PS4 is because of how much.
Was the horrible press conference. It
Not
was
only the press conference,
yeah.
but also the giant, like the amount of money that they were asking for at first. Like,
Oh yeah, they shoved that fucking Connect down our fucking throats. And
yeah, they
but
said that you had to
and
connect it
actually,
and they
I
changed it.
actually remember making a video about the Connect. I literally put my Connect. I burned it. I literally destroyed the fucking thing. I made my video and it was titled My Connect makes for a good fire starter.
Yeah, I remember when I was using the Connect,
And
like
I'll put the link of the video in the
it
description, I
like
guess.
it could not pick up half of what I was saying. It's like
No.
Xbox, Xbox, Xbox.
Same goes for the first and same goes for the second or first. Like I don't really think they really made much improvements with the second Connect.
But yeah, and then like Xbox cadets, like it did not understand what I was saying, and then when it came to PS4, I said something and it was actually pretty good. Like that's the only thing I'd probably say is better with the PS4, that it can actually understand me when I say to do something.
Oh yeah, and what I say when I mention the state of consoles, I say it for a reason because not only are the two consoles we have currently are exactly the same, the two previous consoles were very different. Like the 360 came out first and implemented Xbox Live, which compare the two online services at the time. To take this note, I know that PSN is being improved, is somewhat improved compared to what was back then. Uh, Xbox Live, PSN, Xbox Live wins all the way. Okay, so like at the time, I mean. Uh, but if you look at both consoles hardware-wise, they were vastly different. The 360, for example, was very similar to a PC, and at the time, it was actually a year ahead of a lot of the hardware you would get on a PC. Actually, it was a very powerful piece of tech when it first came out, and same goes for the PS3, which was a lot more powerful than the Xbox 360. Keep in mind, but the catch was the PS3 was at a bit of a learning curve for developers, which is why a lot of PS3 ports were very buggy. Take the Skyrim port, for example, which was god-awful.
Skyrim
And
was okay, but like
yeah, but
it was able to power through it and stuff.
yeah,
So
but
like
the PS3 port was horrible, and the frame drops made it unplayable. So, but you didn't really see that in the you didn't see that in the console exclusives. The console exclusives, the developers actually were able to implement that PS3's hardware power. And if you look at the Xbox 360, that turned out to be the go-to console for multiplats and online play. Online play on PSN was pretty much a joke. It wasn't as bad as Nintendo, because Nintendo and their whole online thing is a whole other story, because I have no idea what Nintendo is doing. I really don't. They are really out of touch. They really are. But PSN was still very weak in comparison to Xbox Live at the time. But you look at PS4 and Xbone now, they are very similar. And you notice that with both, it doesn't really matter. Like, it kind of feels like both console fanboys, PS4 fanboys, Xbone fanboys, it feels like they're fighting over whose console sucks less.
there was actually a video, like a cartoon video, like two
Handmade video?
ships. Like it was animated. One was the Xbox ship and the other was a PS4 ship. And
Yeah.
basically they had to fight. They used fanboys as cannonballs, and then they kept fighting, trying to steal fanboys, like basically stealing the ammo, and then like as for rowing the boat, it's all like they're not motivated. Quick, give them another game, and like then they'll row faster or something like that. And
Mm.
then like by the end of it, PC Tower came out of nowhere and smashed both of them or something
Oh
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, because PC is hard.
PC Master Race.
Yeah, it's very powerful in comparison to consoles.
I mean, like if you could like the thing I like about PC is that
It's
first off,
very convenient. That's for one.
see it actually for PC you can pay maybe twice or maybe three times as much as a console, depending on your how much you really want to put into your PC. Like you can make the freaking NASA computer if you wanted to for a shit ton of money, and you'll be good to go for 20 years plus, really, for any game.
Yeah.
And uh, like so basically you invest so you don't have to pay for the next gen console or the console after
No.
that.
Basically, it's a building a PC is a huge investment. I told you earlier I built a PC last year, and
Yeah.
it's a huge investment, especially with certain parts like the SSD, for example. It's basically the SSD. It's basically a hard drive without mechanical parts, but it's so faster. I've actually have my operating system, which is Windows 10 currently. I originally installed Windows 7 until I was given the option to install Windows 10, which is free, which was a plus. And which is definitely better than Windows 8, by the way, which is a good thing. Uh, SSDs are much faster, and it makes it boot games and anything that's on it much faster. But the catch is they are very, very, very expensive in comparison to regular hard drives. And I have a 2 terabyte and 1 terabyte hard drive, so that's 3 storage bases in total. But what I have is on pen and paper or on the box of the SSD, which was an Intel SSD, says 250 gigabytes, which is lies mostly. It's either 220, 230, which is weird because for some reason with any storage component, they don't like when they say the amount that's on the storage device, they don't exactly say how much storage there is. They just make the closest estimate or something. I don't know why.
Probably like a bumper or something like that, or
Yeah,
maybe it's
yeah,
like
something like that.
this is for strict programs of this for your computer, something like that.
Yeah, and with PC, as I said, it's a huge investment, and trust me, it's not as hard as you think it is. It may seem intimidating at first, but once you get built, it's really worth it, especially with Steam sales. And plus, I feel like if you're like not when you don't own a PC, I feel like you're kind of missing out on a lot of games, especially Hotline Miami. Unless you're not a gamer on PlayStation. I'm not really sure if Hotline Miami is on Xbox or anything. Like I remember Hotline Miami being released on PS3, and then Hotline Miami 2 being released on both PS3 and PS4, I think. But I'm not sure of it being on like Xbox. So you can tell me in the comments below, I guess.
Yeah, well, if anything, people, we're not saying spend countless dollars on PC, but like it would be a good investment, really.
Yeah, I really would. But
I mean,
while
it's not just
I do understand buying a console. It does have its convenience. But actually, let's go back to the topic about current console gamings at the moment, the state of console gaming. I feel like consoles are starting to become more PCs rather than consoles. It's kind of losing that aspect of convenience. Because I remember back in the day where I would play on my Xbox or PS2 where I could easily plop the game in anytime I want. I remember playing on PS2 and I remember playing the original Spider-Man 2 game. Remember those Spider-Man games?
yeah.
Yeah, those were really good games. Those are the greatest examples of movie licensed games that actually worked. And you can easily plop it in and play it. No problem. Now, with the release of the 7th gen consoles, you plop it in and chances are there would be an update. But if you played your game frequently, you wouldn't encounter an update often. Unless you spent days not playing your console, then you suddenly play a game and there's an update, yeah. Now, when you buy a game on either PS4 or Xbone, that you have to install it, which I do not know why. It just occupies space for no reason, even though you can easily play off the disc. Like, I remember when, like, it was It was forced on the previous consoles. It was forced on the PS3 where you would have to install it, but for some reason, but on Xbox it was more optional, which I would much prefer it to be optional rather than forced,
I
because
remember
yeah,
I remember when you installed it, it's supposed to make it run better.
yeah,
However,
they
now it
basically uh, basically when you start playing it, the disc spins, but after a while it stops spinning.
yeah, I mean like I understood it before like yeah, it would make it run better and
Yeah, it's
sure
something.
enough it did.
It was something I would recommend doing if you're playing any RPG on a console or your
That's what I did for
360.
Fallout 3.
Yeah,
Fallout 3, it helped it a lot. I played so much that it actually had a ring around it,
yeah,
and it would not play well unless I installed it. So I
mm,
installed the
yeah.
game, and it was running perfectly, no crashes, no freezes, and
But then
I was like,
again, you could say it's very limited compared to what you can do on PC, including all
I
the
know,
mods and
yeah.
all that. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, I feel like we should end the podcast here. My name's Triage, and
I'm Swordsman.
we will see you on the next podcast. Peace.
Have a nice day.